Just because the weather is deteriorating, we're going to move right through the program before luncheon's finished. I apologize. Some of you are likely still eating, but I think in the interest of everybody's safety, we should move on. Before we begin the formal part of the program, I do want to extend special thanks to our luncheon sponsor today, Webster Bank. We count on our sponsors throughout the year for financial support for events like this, and we appreciate Webster's continued support for this particular function. It's now my pleasure to thank introduce the mayor. Mark was educated in Danbury and earned his Bachelor of Science in Education in American History at Central Connecticut State and his Master's in Educational Psychology at Western Connecticut State University, where he now serves on the Alumni Board. After discharge from the U.S. Army in 85 as a sergeant, he returned to Danbury in 87 to teach social studies. He served on the Danbury Planning Commission from 95 through 98 and was elected to the State House from the 138th in 98 and 2000, serving at that time both on the Education Committee and as a ranking member of the Environmental Committee. He was elected mayor in 2001 and re-elected in 2003 and 2005. I know I had something to do with his re-election in 2007 because of the introduction that I gave him at this particular event back in 2006 and carried over the final 11 months. And then he was finally re-elected on his own again in 2007. Mark lives in Danbury with his wife Phyllis, and I'd like to welcome him now to the podium. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Fran. I have to tell you, he sets the bar so high, I'm just like afraid to get up here today. But I appreciate the great job he does with the Chamber of Commerce. Mayor Gavin Newsom from San Francisco is legendary for his State of the City speeches. They sometimes go on for 6 and 7 hours. So I've got mine. It's about 12 to 14 minutes. So we'll try to be as brief as possible. Cheryl, stop clapping. I know it is snowing outside and you got to get your red milk. That's important. So I'm going to let you out here as fast as you can. You don't have to go back to work. I've declared that officially. Tell your boss too bad. Go right home and just start the holiday week now. Don't even show up Monday. Well, maybe but I really do want to take a moment to thank each of you for being here today, particularly in this weather. I want to congratulate Richard Steiner and his family for running really an outstanding organization. When you think of integrity, you think of the Steiner family. They are outstanding in every single way. And I can't think of a better family to recognize for this prestigious award. So Dick and Carol, congratulations. We are also blessed with the attendance of some of our elected officials here today, so I'd like to ask you to hold your applause to the very end, but I do want to recognize some folks. We have with us 2 state representatives, Joe Tabersack and Jason Bartlett. We appreciate go ahead and give them applause anyway. So we appreciate the work that they do for us. We also have a number of local elected officials. Dan Jowdy, our city treasurer, could not be here today. He's not feeling well, but we send him our prayers, and we know that Dan has not missed one of these meetings. But also our town clerk, Lori Kavak, is here. We appreciate Lori coming. We're also joined by members of our Common Council, Ben Chianese, Phil Curran, Warren Levy, Greg Seabury, Mary Teicholz, and our Council President, Joe Cabo, so we appreciate them for being here as well. Of course, it's a sad day for Danbury on January the 7th because we're going to lose a terrific state senator that has done wonders for this city and this community, and that's my good friend David Cappiello. David, good to see you here. Thank you for everything you've done for Danbury over the years. You've been an outstanding friend. And of course, our state senator-elect Mike McLaughlin is here somewhere. So, Michael, congratulations. Our Judge of Probate is here, Diane Yaman. Judge, we appreciate you. To my right is our dedicated city officials, and we appreciate our department heads being here. Our Chief of Police, Alan Baker, our Fire Chief, Jeff Farrell, Paul Estefan, our Airport Director, Bob Yeaman, our Corporation Counsel, Fareed Corey, our City Engineer, Antonio Garola, Chip Volpe, Dan Garrett, everybody's here. So thank you for coming as well. Thank Steve for once again having a terrific event, Fran Ryder, for all he does with the Chamber, and again for pulling us all together. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to report to you today that the City of Danbury is in strong financial shape. That is no small feat in today's day and age. We have maintained the highest credit and bond ratings in the history of our city. And due to the hard work of our finance department this year, Moody's has increased our bond rating based on our sound financial practices. Fitch, another bond rating agency, is also considering an upgrade, and we should hear about that fairly soon. Danbury has also maintained the lowest unemployment rate in the state of Connecticut, and we were just recently rated the safest city in the state of Connecticut. Our taxes continue to be some of the lowest in the state. Our sewer and water rates continue to be 100% below the state average. And while the downturn in the residential real estate markets has turned into a full-blown economic crisis, Danbury continues to be a desirable place to raise a family. Our business community continues to meet the current economic challenges head on. There are, unfortunately, storm clouds on the horizon. The state of Connecticut is experiencing unprecedented economic challenges. With a projected deficit of $6 billion over the next 2 years, the state deficit will result in severe cuts in state aid, which will have an impact on our local budget and will impact our ability to deliver services to our community. In light of the economic uncertainty, I've already taken several steps to help mitigate the pending crisis. I've already implemented a spending freeze and a hiring freeze for all non-essential personnel. I've banned all out-of-state travel for training and have begun to review the assignment of motor vehicles and cell phones. Through attrition, we've eliminated approximately 10 positions in city government, and the Board of Education has announced an early retirement incentive program that will enable us to restructure some of the delivery of our educational services. We've already begun an assessment of our public improvement projects to see if we can delay some of those projects while we wait for more favorable economic conditions. We have also included some $50 million worth of public improvement projects in our request to the incoming Obama administration for funding in the anticipated economic stimulus program. But in the meantime, the rest of our public improvement projects are moving forward, and some of the highlights for 2008 are: the new police station will be open and fully operational May 1st, 2009, approximately 5 months ahead of schedule. We've completed the rebuilding of 3 new bridges, one on Rose Hill and 2 on Pagnam Road. The brand new Ellsworth Avenue Elementary School will be open in the fall of 2009. We are rebuilding several fields and adding a new multi-purpose field in Rogers Park. We are in the process of adding open space and acquiring the development rights and we've acquired the development rights to Taylor Family Farm in the Great Plain area. We've also completed a number of projects that have added value to our community. Paving and drainage work has been completed throughout the city. A cut-through has been completed for the residents of Pocono Lane. The widening and streetscape of our lights has, The widening and streetscape of White Street has been completed. We've completed and presented to the veterans of this city a new building called Veterans Hall in Rogers Park. We are also in the process of a development of a strategic plan by a task force designed to assess our Main Street and work closely with the city center. The Main Street Renaissance Task Force, led by John Klein, has helped us look at Main Street in an objective fashion and will help us formulate a lasting strategy for long-term success. The Danbury Schools 2020 Task Force has begun its work and will formulate a strategic plan that will engage our community and corporate partners. Chaired by Rossi Slavicki and Janice Reed, we are in the process of designing an educational system that will meet the needs of the 21st century and will be cost-effective and efficient. We started the process to update and review our city charter. This administration has accomplished much over the last several years, and I'm proud of its record. I'm also excited and energized by the prospects of another year in office. Yes, we do have challenges, but we have so much to be proud of. I'm proud of our rich multicultural community that celebrates life and recognizes the importance of each person in Danbury. I'm proud of our elected officials, both Democrats and Republicans, that are committed to putting the needs of our city and its residents first. I'm proud of our arts community, the strong growth of the Ives Authority, as well as the successful first run of the Connecticut Film Festival. I'm proud of our wonderful run of the Nutmeg Games, which we hosted in our city and are gearing up for another successful Summer Games in 2009. We've got a university that is a flagship of the state university system. And I see Dr. Schmauder here, and I welcome him. It is once again having a record year in terms of applications for enrollment, and has secured funding for a multi-million-dollar performing arts center on the west side of campus. We've got a first-class hospital led by Frank Kelly and his team, providing outstanding care to our residents. We have a growing and diverse faith-based community that has become strong care providers and partners with the city to help those who are the most challenged in our society. This year we saw the opening of 2 new facilities that serve the disadvantaged in our community. The Samaritan Center, located on Rose Street, and the Jericho House, located on Maple Avenue. The Jericho Partnership's mission is to transform the city. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe that they will. We have a first-class effort to address the issue of homelessness in Danbury. And in our community, we didn't wait for an economic crisis to address the issue of homelessness. We were deep into the implementation of our 10-year plan to end homelessness before the economic downturn took place. That's why we have reduced chronic homelessness in the area, and we're putting new housing units online for those among us who face the crisis of being without a home. With the assistance of the VA and our local housing partnership team, we've created a new program called Housing for Heroes to help homeless veterans off the streets and into new housing opportunities. I want to take a moment to thank Mark Nolan, who's here today, and the Danbury Housing Partnership for their dedication and commitment to our city's homeless population. They are doing remarkable work. Their work has been recognized across the state of Connecticut and across the country as a model for communities to emulate. Thank you, Mark, for all that you do. We have engaged our seniors by tapping into their wealth of experience and knowledge for the betterment of Danbury, by encouraging them to donate their time to the city or their favorite nonprofit in exchange for a credit on their property taxes. And while I'm proud of our community, I also recognize that, yes, indeed, we do have challenges, and you have grown and expect this administration to meet them head on. The economy is our #1 challenge moving forward into 2009 and beyond. And while we've taken measures to address expenditures in city government, we are still challenged by falling revenues. As many of you are aware, over the last several years, the waste hauling industry in Western Connecticut and as well as Eastern New York has been subject to a federal investigation regarding its business practices. The investigation was sweeping and far-reaching, resulting in many indictments of people and their companies. The investigation has been completed and most of the assets of the companies in question were seized by the federal government. Those assets will be auctioned off by the United States Marshal Service sometime in the next several months. The most important part of the seized assets for our region is a transfer station located at 307 White Street. The transfer station handles approximately 120,000 tons, or 95% of the trash generated per year from our region. It is a critical component for the delivery of trash disposal services in the greater Danbury area. Over the last several months, the Housatonic Resource Recovery Authority, our regional trash authority, has been pursuing public ownership of the facility. It has become evident to the authority that it would be too difficult for the 11 towns in the region to acquire the facility. It has also become clear to the authority, and become clear to myself, that the city of Danbury would be uniquely positioned to acquire the transfer station and ultimately to operate it. Since early September, I've been working with our legal team and our consultants, Malcolm Kearney, to determine the economic viability of the transfer station and to make revenue projections for the future. Based on our preliminary assessment, I'm reporting to you today that the transfer station is viable. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very viable. And more importantly, it could provide a significant revenue stream for the city of Danbury. So today I'm proposing that the city of Danbury create the Danbury Solid Waste Authority
to oversee operations at the transfer station. I'm proposing that the City of Danbury and the newly created authority acquire the site and the facility to protect and preserve the waste disposal system we have in place. Since the City of Danbury and the authority will be assuming all of the risk, it is only fitting that we'll be keeping all of the revenue generated at the facility. So, ladies and gentlemen, in short, we will be turning Danbury's trash into cash. Cash that in the future can help balance our budget, fund our schools, clean our streets, and provide much-needed property tax relief to our homeowners. At a special meeting this morning, HRA has adopted a resolution that unanimously endorses the City of Danbury's proposal. And I want to thank our first selectmen and our mayors, who some of them are here today, for their support in going through this process. I'm also thankful to Congressman Murphy for endorsing Danbury's effort to place the transfer station in public ownership. I am calling for a special meeting of our Common Council for Monday night, December 22nd at 7 p.m., where I'll ask the Council to begin the process of acquiring the transfer station. As I speak to you today, the notices of special meeting are being delivered to our Council meetings. Some of our Council members got them today. Sorry about that here today. Aside from the revenue that will be generated to provide property tax relief, there are equally important reasons to have the transfer station under public ownership. Equal access to the site is critical to the operations of the many haulers who operate within the area. Equal access will provide a level playing field to all haulers so that consumers will benefit from lower pricing in a competitive marketplace. Having a citizen panel of Danbury residents to oversee the general operation of the facility will ensure that there is transparency in its operations. Flow control, the direction of where the trash goes, will finally be enforced in the HRR region. Public ownership will also ensure that the City of Danbury's mom-and-pop recycle center continues to operate unimpeded for the benefit of the taxpayers of Danbury. Public ownership over a period of time will result in lower costs for our residents by lowering tip fees to the haulers and ultimately lowering the cost to your businesses. In light of the federal government's allegations regarding unfair competition in the marketplace, I believe that the only solution to restoring competition and to ensure that another situation does not arise that restricts an open marketplace is that the City of Danbury, through the Dollars and Solid Waste Authority, run the transfer station. Putting the dollars generated from the trash generated by the residents of Danbury back into the hands of the taxpayers and businesses of Danbury is the right thing to do. Acquisition of the site is going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. This is a complex operation that involves many different people and many different organizations. And I recognize also that these are difficult economic times. We will place site acquisition of the transfer station as well as capital work that must be completed at the facility at the top of our funding request from the incoming Obama administration's economic stimulus plan. And since this is a regional facility, we will appeal to the state of Connecticut for funding assistance, as well as assistance with the various permitting fees. The City of Danbury and HRRA are once again appealing to the federal government today to work in a cooperative fashion with us to sell the transfer station for a minimal fee to the Danbury Solid Waste Authority. Having the transfer station fall into private control is bad public policy and will not create the competitive marketplace that the federal government desires. But let's make no mistake. Because public ownership of the transfer station is critical to ensuring that there's a place to store our trash and our recycling materials for the future for the 11 towns in our region. And because the residents and businesses of Danbury have been harmed by overpaying for services for years and have been victimized by unfair competition in the marketplace and deserve the revenues that are generated in the facility, the City of Danbury will use every tool in its toolbox to ensure that public ownership occurs at the transfer station. This city is committed to a fair, open marketplace in Danbury and the greater Danbury area. The city is also entertaining two interesting land proposals on the west side of Danbury. One proposal is for the purchase of the city of 200 acres of open space bordering New York State and Joes Hill Road. And the second is a development proposal for 13 acres of city-owned land along Old Bridgebury Road. The open space parcel is one of the most desirable in the city, including what was a former Farrington compound now owned by AIG. There are several buildings on the property that could be used for the arts, as well as the Danbury Land Trust. Sanford's Pond and the headwaters of the Still River is located within approximately 200 acres of these pristine woodlands. And the second proposal includes a 400-seat independent film theater, as well as 5,000 square feet of flexible space dedicated to the city to host various film production efforts in the area. As many of you are aware, Danbury's become sort of a mecca for filmmakers. I even got to play a cameo role in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2, but I didn't make it into the film. I was left on the cutting floor. I'm very upset about that. But anyways, having flexible space for film production will help us market the city as a desirable location to make a film. In addition, shops and a small outdoor performance center will be available for intimate performances. A land lease will be required to use our land, and the dollars generated from the land lease will be used to leverage the borrowing necessary for the acquisition of the open space owned by AIG. In addition, we would create jobs as well as much-needed tax revenue for the city. While acquiring the transfer station for the region and open space for the city are important, the issue first and foremost on our residents' mind is still the economy. The city will do everything it can, everything within our power, to keep property taxes at their current level. We'll do everything we can, everything in our power, to keep sewer and water rates at their current level. This coming budget season will have to make some difficult and tough decisions. Our next budget will reflect a retrenchment towards our basic services. It's going to be painful, but it's necessary as we manage the economic downturn. We're also going to work closely with the Chamber and our own Office of Economic Development to conduct a job fair in the spring for our residents, as well as partner with Westcon to conduct economic literacy programs for our residents. We will continue to address the issue of homelessness in the city, and in light of the current economic crisis, accelerate our efforts. We'll work to give our residents a hand up during these difficult times. We will support and we will care for our brothers and sisters in this community. Over the years as mayor, I've been blessed with a great staff. And this year, I'm very sad to lose Mike McLaughlin. Mike has done an outstanding job as my chief of staff, and he's moving on to be the next state senator for the 24th district. But Mike will be taking a different role for the city of Danbury, and I'll get to that in a minute. Today, I'm proud to announce that Wayne Shepard, our current Director of Economic Development, will assume the role of Chief of Staff. I'm excited to work with Wayne. He's been a mentor to me, and I know he's been a mentor to a lot of you in this room, because anytime you got a problem, you go to Wayne. He's good at that. And over the years, and I know he'll do a terrific job. Mike McLaughlin will move to Wayne's position as a new Director of Economic Development. The position, however, will be reduced to 15 hours per week. I'm honored and excited that Mike has agreed to take on this new role for Danbury. He brings an incredible amount of knowledge and skill to our city. And I want to congratulate both Mike and Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, being mayor of the city of Danbury has been the highest honor for me. I'm humbled each day that I turn the key and walk into my office. I'm honored by your faith and support that you've shown in me over the years. I appreciate the feedback that many of you have shared with me. And I'm proud to report to you today that Danbury is blessed with a strong economy. Danbury has a stable, responsive government and a compassionate and caring people. We are a community of people from all over the world, dedicated to making this city an outstanding place to live, work, and be educated in. So in this holiday season, we need to take time to express our faith to one another. We need to show faith in America. We need to show faith in our economy. We need to show faith in our leaders, and of course, faith in our families. So as you move through the business of your day, let's just take a moment to remember how lucky we are. We're lucky to live in such a great community, in such a wonderful state, in such a wonderful country. Let's take a moment to renew our faith and our purpose. Let us vow to continue the fight to renew our community. These are tough times, but let us not forget that America is the shining star of our planet. We're the last best hope on earth. We'll endure these times, and we will continue to share the joy of the American experience to generations to come. So I want to thank you for coming out on this snowy day. I'm sorry if I took too long. I also want to wish each and every one of you a very happy holiday to you and your families. God bless you, and God bless our America. Thank you.